BZ Chronicle.
Greetings, Bionicle Zone members. I'm Dimensioneer, and this is the BZ Chronicle. Welcome to the long-anticipated episode 2 of the program. It's been nearly 3 months since the last incarnation of this show, and I stopped counting the downloads when they broke over 1,000. I really have no idea. In addition to regular members downloading the show, I know that it's gotten coverage on BZPower and Mask of Destiny as news items. People stop by the site just to download the show and take in a listen. And with any luck, those new visitors become new members of the BZ community. So whether you've been with the program since episode 0 or this is the first show you've downloaded, I hope you enjoy it. Now, a lot of things have transpired in the world of Bionicle since our last episode, and I couldn't begin to cover all of them in just this one show, but I'm going to touch on as many of them as I can. We're going to talk about some of the developments at bzcommunity.com. We're going to field some questions in BZ Q&A, and whatever else I can pack into this show before it just gets too big to manage. So, let's get started. Now, easily, hands down, without a doubt, the biggest thing to happen in Bionicle in the last few months happened just over the past couple of weeks, and that is the awakening of the Borak swarm. Now, if I tell you that the new Borak product line is cool, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. But that's okay, because what I want to focus on are some of the things happening around the release of this second wave of Bionicle products that point to just how popular and how different the Bionicle line is. Now, the first thing I want to touch on is the strike while the iron is hot mentality. If you think about it, it's only been about 6 months since the Bionicle line was even introduced, and already a second wave of the toys is being released. Now, I don't pretend to have any inside information from LEGO, and I'm certainly not an employee, and I don't know what their marketing strategies are. But I'm willing to bet that they had no idea how big Bionicle was going to be for them. Now, obviously, they knew it was going to be popular because they put a lot of effort into it. They had a lot of marketing, a lot of promotions going on around it. But to have an entire second product line out the door 6 or 7 months after it was introduced, they recognized that it's big for them. Now, continuing on this same line of thought, if it were just that another line of toys were being released 6 months later, maybe you'd say big deal. But we know it's more than that. There's a storyline that's being progressed. There's a great deal of secrecy that shrouds the Bionicle line and the new releases as the story develops. There's the complete revamping of the Bionicle.com website that in and of itself pushes and advances the story along. There's a lot more to it than just a new set of LEGO toys to build. Now, the next thing to look at is the way that the Borak are being released. They're technically scheduled to be released in February of this year, not for another week yet as I record this. But while you can already purchase them at LEGO Shop at Home or Toy Wiz or any online retailer that already carries that kind of a thing anyway, your local retailer is handling things a little bit differently than they did the first time around with Bionicle. If you've been to your retailer and stopped by the toy aisle, and if you haven't, shame on you, you'll see that there's a whole section set up for the Borak, and they're not even expected to arrive for another week or two. Do you hear what I'm saying? Empty shelves in the LEGO aisle that are pre-labeled for a product that may not even be here for a couple of weeks. Does that happen anywhere else in the LEGO aisle, anywhere else in the toy section, anywhere else in the store? Oh, we're getting some new grills in. When? Next month. Clear out an aisle, clear out a section, label them. It'll build anticipation. Of course not. This is a new strategy for this release of the Borak line that's serving a dual purpose. First of all, yeah, it's torturing us and making us wait and come back and check and see if the things are in stock yet. But also, they're trying to stave off the problem they had with the first line. Do you remember back around Christmas, November, December, when you couldn't find a TOA in stock in 90% of the stores? Well, that happened for a couple of reasons. First of all, Bionicle didn't exactly hit the ground running. They kind of trickled out. People heard about them through word of mouth. They went online looking for information about them. And then it built so quickly that what was in stock was snapped up and you couldn't get them reordered fast enough. Well, the Borak, they're going to hit the store shelves with product name recognition already there. They've got shelf space. They're ready to go. The Borak are better positioned in the market than the first line of Bionicle ever could have been. It's certainly a good thing for LEGO. It's probably a good thing for your retailers. So I, for one, am going to be paying very close attention and seeing how it impacts you and me, the consumers. Now, we're just getting started with Episode 2 of the BZ Chronicle. The next thing I'd like to do is introduce a member of BZ Community who has taken the time to record an audio review of the Bionicle Quest for the Masks collectible card game by Upper Deck Entertainment. Now, let me apologize in advance for the poor audio quality on sections of this review. This member did the very best he could with the limited equipment he had available to him, and it's a testament to his dedication and commitment to Bionicle Zone, BZ Community, and this BZ Chronicle. So without further ado, let me hand it over to Kopaka the Ice Master.
Hello, Bionicle Zone community members. I'm Kopaka the Ice Master, also known as KTI. I'm here to give a review of the Bionicle Quest for the Masks card game. You most likely have heard of it. The average price is $15 for this board game / card game. It can be found at the following retailers: Walmart, Toys R Us, Kmart if you're lucky, Zany Brainy, and more. The questions, is the Bionicle card game worth buying, or should I buy the Bionicle card game, has been asked the most in the Bionicle Quest for the Masks forum. The only thing I can say is if you're willing to pay some cash and you like customizable card games and enjoy almost anything of Bionicle, go buy it. It's been about 3 months as the Bionicle Quest for the Masks booster packs have came out. I bought 3 packs myself. All I can say is it would be smart not to buy all the starter decks because 6 of the 9 cards in a pack are found in a starter deck. In my 3 packs, I got 3 toys. Yes, 3 toys, which proves that it would be a waste of money to buy all 3 starter decks. There has been a small controversy with the card number 177, which shows Anyo's Ho. Even though this card is not foil, it adds 200, not 100 to shielding. Some people believe this card is a misprint, and some believe it is supposed to be like that. I myself believe this card is a misprint. Well, that concludes the Bionicle Quest for the Masks card game review. Back to you, Dimensioneer.
Alright, thanks KTI, I appreciate the review. Also, thanks to everybody who sent in an audio question for BZ Q&A, which we'll touch a little bit later in the program. But first, I want to talk about a few items that directly affect BZCommunity.com and its members. Okay, one of the issues that directly affects every single member of Bionicle Zone, and one that a lot of folks have asked me to talk about this episode, is of course the January 1st implementation of the Premier Membership Program. Now first, to bring everyone up to speed, in case you didn't read about the PMP over in the reference desk, it's the program where I'm offering several conveniences, features, and special permissions to members in exchange for a small contribution to the financial stability of BZ. Now before I talk about what it is, let me first talk about what it is not. It is not making Bionicle Zone a members-only forum. It is not requiring anyone to make any sort of contribution in order to have access to any part of Bionicle Zone or to participate in Bionicle Zone. Now what it is a way to guarantee and ensure the longevity of Bionicle Zone and to make sure that not only will it be here tomorrow and next month, but a year from now. Now in order for that to happen, the site has to meet my 3 main criteria. It's got to stay enjoyable, it's got to stay reliable, and it's got to stay affordable. Now, enjoyable is obvious. If you're not having a good time, if I'm not having a good time, why would you bother to have the site in the first place? Reliable, also pretty self-explanatory. The server where BZ lives has got to be with a dependable web host so that when you want to visit the site, it's there for you. If it's not, you're going to be frustrated, every member is going to be frustrated, and then you're not going to be enjoying yourself, and that goes back to my first criteria. Now that reliability leads me right into my final point. It's got to be affordable. I've got to be able to afford to keep Bionicle Zone hosted with a dependable, reliable, reputable web host, or it's not going to be dependable, it's not going to be fun. And so enter the Premier Membership Program. All it is a way for me to say thank you to members who wish to voluntarily contribute to the health and well-being of Bionicle Zone, and a way for me to reciprocate by making their BZ experience a little more enjoyable, a little more convenient, a little more special. Things like the convenience of attaching images, like the custom member icons, like a vanity email address, your name at bzcommunity.com. Little things like that that aren't required in order to participate, but they provide a way for me to say thank you to members who are able and willing to help me guarantee that BZ will be here down the road for you. So I hope that answers a lot of the questions that there were. There's no obligation, there's no guilt, there's no pressure. If you don't want to, if you're not allowed to, if you just can't see your way clear and it doesn't sound square to you, don't do it. I don't want you to. I don't want anyone to feel the need to. To those who already have chosen to become Premier members, I can't thank you enough. You've guaranteed that BZ is going to be here for months. And to those who are thinking about it, or you're planning on becoming a Premier member in the future, it'll be your contributions that'll make sure we're online months after that. Now, the next item up on the agenda is the BZ raffle. As you may already know, the second BZ raffle has begun. As with the previous raffle last November, this raffle offers some great prizes, including in the raffle is a full set, all 6 of the Borak Va, which are not currently available to shop at home. Also a Transgreen Miru, and a Denmark copper set, the 2 copper canoe that you could only get at the Denmark Legoland, both of those getting increasingly hard to find. But the main attraction is something very, very special, one-of-a-kind item and a great collector's item. It's a life-size canoe cow mask. This was the one used on the SUVs that took part in the Bionicle Tour last summer. The mask was given to Binkmeister as part of his prize package for winning the website contest. A little bit more on that later, but I'd like to thank Bink for his very generous donation to the raffle. The entry fee, again, will be $1, just like it was last time. If you want to enter, just send an email to Bionicle at bionicle@bzcommunity.com. The winner will be announced here on an upcoming episode of The Chronicle. Now, if you've been by BZ Community in the last couple of weeks, you know that we're celebrating our 6-month anniversary. Bionicle Zone was launched on July 20th of 2001. We had about 3 members in the first week, and we've grown quite a bit since then. So to commemorate the 6-month anniversary and also to celebrate the launch of the second wave of Bionicle toys from LEGO, the Borak Swarm, I figured what better time to introduce the new rank structure for Bionicle Zone members than right now. Now, no, I'm not going to give away all the level secrets. I'm not going to tell you how you get to be a scavenger and how you get to that rank and what's the number required and where are all the images hosted. I'm not telling any of those things. I keep getting private messages begging me to release all that information, and my answer is always the same. Why would I give away all the surprises? What I will do, though, is read the press release from the reference desk that states, Dateline, bzcommunity.com, January 17, 2002. Unable to stay insulated from the incidents affecting the rest of Matanui, the small village of BZ Community, on the southernmost tip of the majestic island, nicknamed by some as BZ Koro, today felt rumblings of the spreading Borak Swarm. As the swarm threatened to overtake BZ Community and Matanui as a whole, the village elders were forced to take drastic measures. It was decided that all villagers, even those youngsters who had not yet earned their great masks, were needed in the battle against the Borak if we are to be victorious. To that end, requirements for promotion in the village were lowered, and an elite force of seasoned BZ Communitians has been assembled, rumored to be dubbed scavengers, whose sworn duty is to seek out and destroy the invading swarm. Each scavenger has been appointed the daunting task of defeating 96 Borak and claiming its defeated brain, dubbed Krana by reports from the front line, as a trophy. Will these brave villagers be up to the challenge? What recognition awaits those who are able to achieve their appointed duty? Only time will tell. So there you have it. All the information you need is right there in that press release that can be found in the reference desk for your future reference. The next item I'd like to touch on is the BZ Koro shop, which just opened last week. Now, before I go any further, I first got to give credit where credit is due. The idea for BZ Koro came from a BZ community member named Awina1005. He used the phrase BZ Koro in a private message to me the other day, and it just struck me as making perfect sense. You've got Ga Koro and Po Koro and Onu Koro, and we're BZ Koro, of course, because we're on Matanui, and that's the name of our village. So why not? Now, the BZ Koro gift shop sprang from an idea spearheaded by Sidewinder345, a member at BZ Community. He had written me a private message a few weeks ago suggesting this idea, and then he also started a thread in general discussion talking about it, and there was so much positive feedback about it that I thought this would be a great time to do it, because not only would it be a way to celebrate the 6-month anniversary of Bionicle Zone, but also a good way to promote the new scavenger ranks. So all you do is visit the BZ Koro gift shop, you click on the link at the top of the page, and you'll go straight to the shop where you can get hats and t-shirts and mugs and mouse pads, all with the BZ Community logo, as well as a few items with the Summon the Scavengers design created exclusively for the BZ Koro gift shop to commemorate the opening of the shop and the creation of the scavenger ranks. So if you think you might be interested, click on in, take a look, Every purchase you make goes to benefit BZ Community and to support our bandwidth costs. And now it's time for Chronicle Q&A. Well, in advance of every episode, there's a thread that will be opened up on BZ Community inviting you to send in your questions, preferably in wave format so they can be played back right here on the show. But send in your questions, and I'll try to find the answer and answer it right here on the episode of the BZ Chronicle. All right, first up is kind of two questions in one. Onua661 wrote in and said, when did Bionicle Zone open, and did Dimensioneer start it? And also Arku wrote in and said, what are your responsibilities at Bionicle Zone? Well, yes, I'm Dimensioneer, and I started it back in July 20th of 2001, which I mentioned a little earlier in this show. And my responsibilities are pretty much just to keep the thing running. I appoint a lot of moderators to actually handle the day-to-day operation of individual message areas to keep things on track and not going too far off topic. And what I try to do is try to keep things interesting, like the introduction of the new scavenger ranks. And aside from working on what things are going to happen in the future, I just try to handle the day-to-day problem emails that I get between somebody not being able to log in or not being able to get their email changed or having trouble completing their membership registration. So that's pretty much what I do. A big part of the day-to-day operation, though, has to be attributed to Bionicle, my assistant administrator. He is outlandishly dedicated to the site, and he is always on, and when I stop in, he actually gives me updates and lets me know what's been going on. So I've got to get a lot of the credit to him for that. All right, next question. Toa45 wrote in, and he says, about the Borak, do they trade their brain things to the Toa for Kanohi masks? I just wanted to know because I saw a picture on maskofdestiny.com that showed a Borak trading a brain mask thing for a Tahu's How. Toa45, I know we'll learn more as the story evolves on Bionicle.com, but as I understand it right now, the Krana are actually living things. Those are the Borak brains, and they can take over the Toa by replacing their masks and taking control of them, but it's not something the Toa would necessarily exchange for their Kanohi.
Hello, this is my guy. I was wondering how long Bionicle was in progress, being thought of and planned out.
Good question, Mike Guy. My research indicates that Bionicle was in the development stages at LEGO for about a year prior to its launch, and then about the last 6 months of that year was the actual construction phase, where they decided what custom pieces needed to be made, and they created the molds, and they started producing them, and they put together the individual sets and the Rahi that would be used. Now, the Borak was a little bit different story because there was only about a 4-month production phase for that between realizing that LEGO was popular enough to warrant a second phase so soon to actually getting it out the door. So they only had about 4 to 6 months to design and release the Borak. Now, the next question is from Chronicler, who asks, Dimensioneer, could you shed a little light on the book that's supposed to be released called Bionicle by author Alexander Skinnerton? Yeah, I think this has probably already been answered on the message board, but apparently that book has been totally scrapped. In fact, it was scrapped months ago, but the ISBN had already been assigned, and it just took a while for everyone to get the news that it was never going to be published. Maybe there'll be another book to come along in the future, but that particular publication, not going to happen. Okay, this next question is a little bit unusual, but never let it be said that I don't have a sense of humor. Matoro says, Dimensioneer, I want to hear you sing I'm a Little Teapot on the BZ Chronicle. All right, you ask for it.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. When I get all steamed up, I will shout, just tip me over and pour me out.
Okay, on that note, it's about time to wrap up episode 2 of the BZ Chronicle. Now, before I wrap the episode up, there's one more thing that I have to do or I would be remiss, and that is to congratulate the members of BZ Community who were the winners and recognized by LEGO in their Bionicle Build Your Own Website competition. I'd like to congratulate and recognize NS Media, Shadowcat, Zonua, and Binkmeister. All of you put in tons of effort and made great sites and were rewarded by LEGO. If ever there was any question that BZ Community is home to some of the best and brightest in the Bionicle world, this should put an end to the debate. Congratulations, guys. Well earned. Now, I had intended to have an interview with Purple Dave of maskofdestiny.com, and while I do have parts of it available, I don't have it all ready to go. So rather than hold up this episode any longer, I decided to go ahead and finish this one up, and I'll include Purple Dave's interview on the very next episode of the BZ Chronicle, episode 3. So be sure to watch for that one. So now's the time when I'd like to thank you for downloading the BZ Chronicle. Thank you for visiting BZ Community and being a member. And if you're not a member, stop in. We'd love to have you join us. So, until next time, I will see you on the zone.
BZ Chronicle.